Thank you so much. So can I just move it here so I can see the screen? Can I move it this? No. I don't know if there is anything. Okay. Hi everyone, how's it going?
Hello.
So good. Nice. So before the pizza, you have to listen to me, unfortunately. So let's see how it goes. So the talk is DevX, DX. I will use DX because I'm really used to DX. What we all keep forgetting. Have you ever heard the term the developer experience, DX? Are you familiar with developer experience? Please raise your hand if you know what's the... Nice. So for who doesn't know what's developer experience, it's a brand new term for something that always existed, which is basically focusing the developer experience is, do you know anything about UX, user experience? Same thing, more or less, but more focused on developers. So the idea is that you're focusing on building things or creating an environment to facilitate the work of your colleagues if you are an engineer, roughly, okay? So this is, I think that's more like a clickbait title of the presentation. The thing is that today I just have 15 minutes and we will not discuss too much about DX, but some stuff that I personally would like to hear more about DX, okay? So who am I? My name is Cirpo. My real name is Alessandro. It's too long, so I made up my own name 20 years ago. This is me, yes, 3 years ago before COVID, then I started baking. And so this is an aspirational photo to remind myself that maybe I should bake less. I'm Italian, Belgian. I live in London. I've lived in London for the past 7 years. I've been in the developer experience space for almost 5 years. I had an amazing experience in my previous company, DAZN, where we started the developer experience team. We were just 3 people, and then we expanded to more or less 25 people. And after, and 1 year ago, I left DAZN and I joined Spotify. I'm not working for a DX team, but I'm in backend foundation. Same thing, we are basically focusing on tools and stuff for other developers, more focus on the backend side of things. Yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I still don't have Mastodon, sorry. Cirpo or LinkedIn Cirpo. So, again, we were discussing about DX, what the hell is DX? There is no proper definition at the moment. I'm gonna say just this thing that I think every team, every organization that is where you have an engineering department has a developer experience. Not every organization has a developer experience team, okay? So maybe it's even more confusing, but yeah. So I'm gonna steal the mission that we had in the DX team at DAZN. Keep in mind that we were like a big team supporting more or less 700 people in engineering distributed across Europe. And this was our mission. Our mission was empower every engineer to build the best products and reach their goals by providing the best tools in a supportive and responsive way. Oof, there's a lot in this thing. I still love it. This is why I'm still using it. I'm going to be using an old slide, but there's one thing here that probably I will change a little bit. It's true. If you have a developer experience team with engineers, probably what we are going to do is to build stuff, software stuff. So there's a lot of focus on tools. What do we mean by tools? In this case, even could be like CLI tools, CI/CD pipelines, dashboards, or automation linters, or common libraries, frameworks, and stuff like that. Does it make sense now what probably a DX team is focusing on? I'm a big Lego fan. I don't know if you got it, but yeah. But this is the thing that I wanted to also discuss. We talk always about tools. And in several companies that I've been to, when people say they have the opportunity maybe to move from a product engineering team to a platform or DX team, they're super pumped. Yes, yeah. What can I say? I swear this. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I don't have to work in product engineer. I don't have any more product manager. I don't have hard deadlines and stuff like that. It's not really true, because the thing is that maybe you don't have those kind of functions like a PM or a BA or business analyst or those roles that are working closely with you. But at the end of the day, it means that probably now that kind of function now is on you as an engineer. So the things that I think that we keep forgetting, and we don't talk too much, is about that in order to have a very productive DX team that delivers value, we need to focus on product and on users, our customers. If you're really passionate about developer experience, we have the luxury also to have our customer side by side or virtually on Zoom, whatever, but they are our colleagues, so you have a strong connection with them. And the product and the user aspect is very important. So I personally think I've been in this industry for the past 20 years. I've been in different teams, and I strongly believe that a high-performing team, other than having the right skills, the technical skills, is a very diverse team. And I'm not talking about diversity with of course, the main definition of diversity, which takes into account people from different age, gender, sexual orientation, religion, cultural background, and so on and so forth. The diversity for me is also, other than that, is the fact that you don't have just one archetype of developers, right? So when things are very well balanced, these are, in my experience, the team that I had the opportunity to support, the most performing one, where you have a very good balance in seniority levels and different archetypes of engineers. What do I mean by that? Sometimes, if you have a team with tons of people, most of the people are super creative, it's a chaos. If you have a team where maybe there are lots of engineers that really are passionate about maintenance, refactoring, stuff like that, you have a different chaos. So there's a good balance. Why I'm telling you this story, how is that related to DX? Because the thing that I'm going to tell now, I'm describing probably one of the archetypes, that one of the things that I think should emerge a lot in a developer experience team. Which is, from my point of view, especially if you are at the beginning, if you want to set up a DX team, a DX function in your company, I think you should also invest a lot in people that have a lot of customer user focus. They're not just they can't wait to create the best CLI, colorful APIs with tons of emojis and stuff like that, which is cool. But also they have this kind of passion. They're eager to solve other people's problem, right? Rather than learning new skills from the technical point of view, implementing the newest, using the newest JavaScript framework. So that they should be more product driven and also be responsive and supportive, because they need to take into account most of the time of the users, the customers, and the product. Even at the Zone, for example, we didn't have any real PM or PO or business analysts working with us. At Spotify, in Backend Foundation, where I'm currently working, yes, we have PMs, but most of the time they are more a support role rather than someone that's working on a daily basis with you. Why? Because us as engineers, probably we know even better what other engineers need. So we need to wear those kind of hats, sometimes also be a little bit more like PMs, POs ourselves. Of course, there's a balance. So, as I was saying, not every engineers like to wear other hats, like being a PO, PM, or BA, and it's okay. You don't have to change if you don't like it. I'm just saying that if you're starting DX, or if you want a very performing DX function in your company, you need also to take into account that those kind of skills are very, very important, and you need to balance them. So the other thing is that every year there's a new way of doing things. Like back in the days when I was young, Git, TDD was, wow, I still remember lots of presentation about Git and stuff like that. Today, I mean, it's the minimum, right? So we like to try new things, or we need to do TDD, DDD, all these kind of things. Best practices, event-driven, blah, blah, blah. It's true, there are also amazing stuff. But some rules, from my point of view, some best practice could be kept aside sometimes, especially in DX. Why? Because when you're building a product for a customer, for a public customer, you need to take into account all those kind of things. When you're building internal tools, you can also iterate way faster. And you can also maybe skip some stuff. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do tests or other stuff, but you can cut some corners. Why? Again, you have to keep in mind how can I bring value to my users in a faster way? You can cut some corners. For example, if you are building a new tool that is a web tool, internal web tool, maybe you don't have to focus about supporting all the browsers at the beginning to be pixel perfect. That's not the most important thing. So some stuff, So it doesn't apply maybe to internal tools development. And this is why also this is why I'm stressing about the fact that having engineers working in DX that have this kind of product mindset, like delivering value faster and iterate. One of the things that, for example, we did at Azon that I'm really happy that we did is that every tool that we had internally, we had tons of tools. It's like Trustpilot or something like that, right? When you ask, hey, did you like the service? Did you like this? So you will have like a feedback ribbon where you can just give a score to the tool that you're using. And if you want, leave a feedback. I think it's incredibly useful, especially when you need to support like 700 people and you are a small team. So you understand how things are going. This is another example, even something small, something a little bit hacky. So I don't know about you folks, but have it ever happened to you that, I don't know, platform team or someone else said, hey folks, in 3 months, this thing's gonna be deprecated. How many times? Okay. It happens every day, right? What happens is that you can write emails, private messages, Slack messages, team messages, pigeons, whatever. For sure, when that thing is going to happen, someone will have missed that communication, right? It's fine. I do that myself. So in DX, for example, we noticed that when there was a new thing, our support channel was kept starting increasing the number of support requests. How can we solve that? Can we talk? Do we need to talk to every single person one-to-one? We can't do that. So what we did was a very simple thing, and we developed in one engineer in 1 week. When the CI CD pipelines were running, if there was an error, there was also a pop-up with 3 options. One option is Google error. Simply just click and you get a Google, you copy and paste the error in Google and maybe find a solution. Ask platform support that will basically redirect you to the right team for that thing that we think the error was happening. Or, and this is important, suggest a solution. So in this case, it wasn't us, DX, that was always supporting every single thing. So an engineer that wasn't in DX, you say, oh shit, there's the error. I know what's the error. You suggest a solution. So next time someone else will get that same error, before writing to DX support, before asking for specific support, maybe they have already know how to fix that. So, and this brings me to the last bit that I wanted to discuss. What we should invest when we think about DX, the product mindset, thinking about our user, and also create a community. Because if you think about it, even if it's not a big company like Dazn, Spotify, Meta, and the like, even if once you start having, let's say, 50, 100 people in engineering, once you build like probably after 10 tools that you build and you have one small team, how can you scale? Are you going maintenance, basically, because you need to always maintain that? So probably the best thing will be to be able to also have the rest of engineering supporting the same the tools that you are building. And this is how you can scale, for example, and even the ownership of the tooling. So one of the things that I noticed, the Zone and Spotify, that is really helpful is that all the things that we are doing in platform, we're doing DX also the Zone, all the repos, they're open to anyone. And anyone can run the thing, can also create easily a pull request. Like, for example, sometimes we are picky, right? I want the commit message to be like that. Don't do that, because otherwise people say, oh shit, I have to install the linter, I need to do this, I need to do that, and no one will contribute to that. So make it easy for people to contribute to your stuff, to understand, and to run things also on their local machine. Be very open with RFCs, comments, surveys, and all those kind of things. So the community aspect is very important. Also the support things. One thing is that if you are building an internal community, what we noticed that even at the Zone, was that we had the DX support chat. The first 6 months were basically mostly us as DXer replying to the support requests. Suddenly, something magical happened. We weren't just us replying to support requests, but we're also the other engineers. Because you create an internal community where basically people will try to help each other, no matter even if it's not their primary focus in their team. Rely a lot on data. That's the other thing. in order to understand what to improve from the developer experience, you cannot just think, I think that these things, we need to bump up this version, we need to build this tool. Because the backlog of DX is infinite. And you need to, unfortunately, you need to prioritize. And this is something that we were doing as engineers as well. So try to rely on data, build your own data pipelines. And yeah, so the lesson learned is that if you're starting the X team or the X function, or if you need to balance, try to find a recruit engineers that basically really cares about the product as well as the code. And rely on data, as I said, and drive community contribution. So, I don't know if you're familiar with open source, you're all familiar with open source, right? When you can have an open source model in the company, it's called inner source. So basically, it's open to everyone that are in the company. So this is also the things that I think that we should take into account. So, and again, yes, coding is cool, building products is cool, but from my point of view, it's always about people. And these are the main aspects that we also need to talk a lot when you are talking about DX from my perspective. And we can go and have a nice pizza, I guess. Thank you so much.
Could you go back 2 or 3 slides?
There's a typo.
No. It's about that was it. One engineer, recruit engineers who care about the product as well as the code. So, could you go into a bit more detail on that? So,
sure.
Are we just talking about internal engineers, and they already know the product and love it, or are we talking about people who use it externally and bringing like the community feature from that and then using that as a
we can have a specific presentation about that, because there's a lot to, as usually depends on the context is, it's easy, right? It depends. For example, if I think about my experience at the beginning, from 1 to 6 people in my team, we try to do an internal recruitment. Why? Because if you are building internal tools and stuff like that, the domain knowledge is easy, is there. If you are hiring externally, from that point of view, I mean, there's a lot of training, understanding all the trade-offs and stuff like that. Because again, building things, internal tools, there's a lot of trade-offs, and you need to understand where to cut corners and stuff like that. But at some point, and this is why I said it depends. Then we got to 8 people in the team, and then we made 8 people in the team, internal hire base, people that were moving from other teams. But then we made a conscious decision that the next 2 hires should be external, because we wanted also a different perspective. So this is why I say it depends. Is it answering your question? No?
It depends.
It depends. Okay.
No, that's fine. It was just around the context of the actual product. And
product can be anything.
I know, like you're saying, for your circumstance, it's an internal tool. So, like you said, domain knowledge is only going to be within the company. And I meant it more along the lines as developers are users of the product.
Yeah.
So they obviously have a vested interest in it being a good user experience for everyone else.
Exactly. And I think we were extremely lucky to also, it was easy somehow for us to hire, because people wanted to say, I want to fix that thing. Can I join your team? Say, sure. And then it also depends on the concept you're working on. For example, when we were working more on facilitating access, let's say with CLIs to AWS, we could also have hired external people. But then there has been like 1 or 2 quarters where we were trying to build some tools to make the internal processes easier, for example, on call, these kind of things. In that case, probably, if you need to hire someone, it's better internally, because they already know how exactly. It is about domain knowledge, basically. And sometimes, can you say that in English? The greediness of solving something. So maybe when you are already in, shit, it's not working, I want to fix it. So that's so yeah. Yes.
Hi, great talk, by the way. You're speaking about large companies with like big teams of developer experience engineers, but what do you think developers and engineers in small teams can do to foster a developer experience culture?
Yeah. So this is why also I put this slide, right? So the thing is that you don't really need, especially in small company, depending on what you mean by small. I say small, probably 50 engineers in total.
Fine.
Is it okay? Or even when you're 10. So I don't think the company can really invest, let's say, on having a specific function of 5 people or 4 people working on internal tools. Maybe there's no need. So in that case, what I always suggest is that you can start internal initiatives. So you can form virtual teams or temporary teams. But all the other things that I explained, like be very open, try to be open with the RFCs, with documentation, with the repository. It doesn't matter if you're big or small, because you need to facilitate the contribution. So in that case, probably, if it's a small company, I will probably try to, have some temporary initiatives where people that are really interested in solving something, they will dedicate some time to build that specific stuff. Is that answering the question?
Yes. How would you, with that dedicating of time, how would you portray that to product and management in companies? How would you advertise that developer experiences worth time?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a reality. I mean, in general, who is working in IT, in general, we are very privileged, right? In general, okay? It's the market, except now that the macroeconomic situation is not really helping. The thing is always about money, right? So if you are going to the business, say, we want to build this, they will ask you why. Well, because if you invest in this tool, we will become way faster in these kind of things. So, and sometimes I still have those. I'm an engineer myself. I'm a nerd. I'm more an engineering manager, of course, because I like the idea of supporting people. But sometimes I still feel that we need to invest more, even on the engineering point of view, understanding why we are doing something. Okay. So, for example, now we are working on trying to deprecate Java 8. Okay, which, I mean, it's no brainer. Why the hell are you still using Java 8? But maybe there are some reasons why some services are on Java 8. So when you are trying to suggest that specific initiative, you can't just say, hey, Java 8 is deprecated. It's not enough. You need to explain what will be the benefit for the company. And at the end of the day, it's about being more efficient, delivering value faster to our users, even if you're in platform. And this is the main difficult thing when you're working in platform, not in product, because try to tell people that we are investing in infrastructure or in tooling in platform. At the end of the day, we will have an impact on the final users. It's tricky, but we need also to think about these kind of things.